we'll get one question like transport of copies. What is transport of copy? You know customizing request. What is customizing request?
What are the customized changes? Customized
Client
specification.
specific customization. If you do any changes to client specific customization, it will be recorded by customizing organizer as a customizing request. Second thing, workbench request. They don't ask you system refresh. I'm coming there. Workbench request means if you change any cross client objects, it will be recorded by workbench organizer as a workbench request. That is what two types of transport request: customizing request and workbench request. Third one is transport of copies. Fourth one is relocation. So in system refresh, we use transport of copies. In system refresh, we use transport of copies. What is this transport of copies? They'll ask you. So this transport of copies, when we use this transport of copies, generally what happens, developers will use this transport of copies. See, for example, I have created one transport request. Okay, SID K903. When I changed some object, with each and every transport request, it will create some sub request, right? Yes or no? In development system, they want to check this.
Yes.
They want to check this change. For example, I have modified some object. They want to check these changes. Then what we need to do? Where you do the checking, testing in a quality system. For that, they need to release this transport request. First of all, they need to release this one subtask. Then they need to release main task. When they first, the transport request status will be modifiable. Yes. After releasing transport request, the status will change to released. So you can, after releasing, you cannot do any modifications in this transport request. So they have released the transport request. The transport request come to here. Now, if the testing is failed, can you do any modifications in this? No. So what they do, they don't release this main transport request first. Instead of that, they create one transport of copies. They create one transport of copy. For example, transport of copies. They release only this one, transport of copies. In this, they'll add this request. Take some 4. They don't add this main request. They'll add this request. Now, when you release this transport request, you can check that. But the status of this transport request is still modifiable only. Modifiable means if you have any problems there, you can reconfigure it. You can do some changes in that transport request. For that reason, they use transport of copies. So without changing the status of main transport request, they are releasing the objects from that transport's subtask. If it is failing, they will do for number of times. You can do number of times. Finally, when your testing is successful, then only they will release the main one. That is what called as transport of copies. Can I show you that? Otherwise, instead of that, we do practically. Okay. So I'm having one transport request. How to create a transport request? SC01.
By SC01.
Create. Okay, I'm creating some customizing request. Workbench. Okay, I'll go with workbench request. Okay. Program creation. Okay, I'm creating a new transport request. Okay, this is my transport request. I'm having all my changes in this SIDK 9 lakhs. This is subtask. This is main task. What is the status, guys? Modifiable, right? Now, if I release this transport request, the status will change to what? Released. Can I do that? Okay.
Yeah.
The status will change to released. So once that
After
transport request is released, now you cannot do any changes in that. Yeah, it is released, right? Now see, the status is released. You cannot do any changes. Now I have moved that to quality. From in quality, the testing is failed. So what you need to do again, you have to create a new transport request here, and from you have to do changes here. That is lot of havoc will happen if this the thing. And what I do instead of that, I'll create another request, workbench request. Okay, create. Some name I'm giving. Okay, I have created a new transport request in like 17. Okay, this is 18 is my subtask. My change is here. My object is here. So what I do, remember that number. I'm not releasing that. Instead of that, what I do, I'll create transport of copies. I'll create transport of copies type of transport request. Okay. TOC for program something name I'm giving, and give a target. The same system I'm giving. Okay. Now see this transport request. What I do, double click on that and include objects in that. Objects list from request. So what request, the number is what? 18, right? It is 18. Yeah, under 17 we are having 18, right? 18. I'll add that into the transport of copies. Okay, my request is 19. Okay, so 19 is added, right? This 18 is added into this. Now what I do, I'll release this transport request. My original transport request is what? 17. So after releasing the object subtask from 17, 18 is that. So if I release that, okay, released, fine. Now check the status of that 17. 17 transport request, check. Modifiable. It is still modifiable. So you can do any changes to this object. For this reason, we use transport of copies. You got the point? So you can do this for number of times. Without releasing main transport request, you can do number of times. And the another scenario is, for example, when you are creating your transport request, you forgot to give the target client. For example, okay, I'm creating one transport request. Okay, I forgot to create this target. Then you cannot move the transport request. You cannot release that. Why? It is not having target. Then what you do? Again, create a transport of copies transport request, and you add that transport request into this. This time you give the target. For this purpose also we use. And when it comes to system refresh, why we are using transport of copies? The specialty of transport of copies means it will copy the transport into only next target system. That's it. After that, it won't move to production. Only the next target, whatever you give, for there only it will die. Now in quality, I am creating transport of copies. Where I need to import it later? What is my intention? To import into quality itself. That is the reason here I am giving same quality as a target. So if I import into quality, the transport request will die there itself. It won't move to production. So whenever we are creating any customizing request or a workbench request, what is the meaning? Where we create in development system. After that, next target will be quality, next target will be production. But if you create a transport of copies, next target system is the final destination for that. If you create in development and give a quality, that is final destination. That's it. For that reason, we use transport of copies. Is it clear, guys, about transport of copies? Any doubt? Relocation. What is relocation, guys? For example, relocation is also similar like a transport of copies. Remember, now you have released this transport request. After that, you release this transport request. What is your source? Development is your source system from where the objects are getting modified. You already released to quality. It is now you have to change that. Something went wrong in quality. It didn't pass that testing. So what we need to do? What I need to do? I create one relocation type of transport request and add that transport request into this. Now the source will convert from development system to quality. So here you can do the changes, modification. That is what relocate. It is relocating source from development to quality. For other transport request, the source is this. The integration system is development, right? But you are changing the source. You are relocating the source from development to quality. By using this relocation, you can make changes here itself. You need not to create another transport request. You need not to create another TOC. Instead of that, you can create relocation, and this quality becomes a source from where you can edit the objects. Got the point? That is what relocation. Simple, guys. You know 4 types of transport request. Customizing request means if you change any client specific objects, it will be recorded by customizing organizer as a customizing request. Workbench organizer means if you change any cross client customizing or repository objects, it will be recorded by workbench request as workbench organizer as a workbench request. Transport of copies means just now we have discussed, and relocation means we are changing the origin. We are changing the origin from the original origin to different origin. From here in the new system, you can make the changes to that particular object. That is what your relocation. Is it clear, guys?
Yes, sir.
And another thing, the important thing in system refresh is BDLS. What is BDLS? It is used to change your logical system names. So for example, in your production client, you are having something like PRD CLNT 100. In quality, you are having your quality client like QUA CLNT 100. So this logical system name is used in ALEs, application linking enabling, and IDOCs. In so many intercommunication skills, we are using this. So when your entire production database, all the tables is coming to your quality, all your quality tables is gone. Now all your tables, not all the tables, most of the tables will have some data dictionary level values like logsys and EDI part num. These 2 fields will be there. These 2 fields, it is having that logical system names like PRD CLNT 100. So wherever you find this logsys and EDI part num, you will be having PRD CLNT. Now what is your database? QUA. What is the logical system name you are having? PRD. So you need to run one T code called BDLS in your quality system and give your old logical system like PRD CLNT 100 to new logical system name. What is your new logical system name? QUA CLNT 100. So if you run this, what happens? It will check wherever you are having, and remember, it will only convert transparent tables of the database. We are having different tables like pooled tables, cluster tables, transparent tables. 3 kind of tables we have in database. Only it will check all the transparent tables of the database. Wherever it is having PRD CLNT 100, it will convert it into QUA CLNT 100. So it won't go to your pooled tables and cluster tables. And SAP itself saying, don't trust this BDLS. Don't use this BDLS on production. For example, if you want to do any logical system names in your production clients, don't use BDLS. BDLS is not going to convert everything. So if you want to do anything, do manually. SAP itself saying. So it is only preferable for your quality system. Okay, it will only check all the transparent tables of SAP. Wherever it finds this old logical system name, it will convert to new logical system name. For example, if you find this new name in some logical system name in QA, it will throw you the error. If it is having PRDCLNT 100, then only it will convert to QA. But if some logical system name is QACLNT 100 there by accidentally, it will throw you the error. So don't trust this BDLS. So it is making almost, it is converting almost all tables, but not all, exactly not all. Remember this. I'll show you. SAP standard note is there 2109659. Which tables it are getting modified? See, it is checking data dictionary elements, logsys. The values will be logsys and EDA partnum. See, PRNUM. It will check these two fields. Wherever you are having that logical system name, it will convert all those logical systems to new logical system name. Otherwise, I'll show you that. Go to your tables. C60. Yeah. Logs is C. Give star, it will give you all the logical system names. See, logs is field contains this logical system names. It will convert these logical systems names. Logsys are EDA Parnum. If you are having these two fields contains logical system names actually. That EDA Parnum is for ALEs or IDOCs, for we use that. But it will check all the tables, all the transparent tables. Remember, all the transparent tables. Wherever it finds old logical system name, it will convert to new logical system name. And SAP is not recommending this for your production database. Remember. And what is the T code? BDLS. Here you need to give old logical system name. All your databases containing PRD, right? That name, PRD CLNT some 100, and from that QA CLNT 100. Okay, I'll give, in this system only I'm having some 100 client, and I'll convert that into some, I'll try to do this. Okay, convert, don't, and run the test run always, but I'm going with the directly. Okay, and schedule in a background. If you directly execute, dialog work process will take. If you schedule in a background work process already exists. Okay, I'll give some other. It will also saying C. Okay, I'll do one thing. I'll give some other new name. Okay, now it has to take this. Now it will do. Okay, program execute in background. Yeah, see, it is asking for a printer. Okay, I'm giving one printer, whatever printer configured. Okay, okay, when you, so schedule immediately and say save. Background job is scheduled. See, RBDLS map, this background job is scheduled. So you check in. Where you check the background jobs? Remember this job name, RBDLS MAP. Where you check this jobs?
37.
SM37. Go there and check. See, this job. So this job will be active and it will run for so much time. So I'm not having that. That is the reason it is cancelled. Otherwise, it will give you the spool list also. Here, if you are having that spool icon, you can read all the log. This is how we need to run BDLS. All this this information about BDLS. Any doubt here in BDLS? If not, I'll move to SGen.
No, sir.
Okay. Now, another thing is SGen. What is SGen, guys? SGen is a load generator. SGen is a load generator. What it will do? ABAP loads. It will generate ABAP loads. What exactly meaning by ABAP loads? Anyone? So what happens when you run SGen? See, first I'll run that SGen. SGen is a load generator. It will generate ABAP loads. What exactly meaning of ABAP loads? I'll show you that. So when I run SGen, when we run SGen generally, after installations, after kernel upgradation, after transport, after system refresh, So generate all objects of selected components. If I select that, and if I choose the component, for example, I am selecting basis component, so it will execute all ABAP programs reports related to basis, and then it will generate ABAP loads ready for that. Next time whenever you are running some program, what happens, it will directly execute that. You don't understand anything now, so I'll show you that practically what happens. What is the meaning of ABAP load? For example, you are having some C++ language, anything, any source code, some program is there, where you write, you open a notepad and write some code. Okay. After that, you compile that. When you compile that, .exe file will generate. That is what called as your ABAP load in your system. You can directly execute this. The same way, when it comes to your ABAP, so all the ABAP source codes will be saving in a repo RSC table. So when you execute these source codes, when you compile these codes, ABAP load is generated, means .execute ABAP executables will be generated. What these executables will do, when you call any program, these executables will use to execute that program and it will give you the result. If you don't compile this, if you don't run sgen, what happens means the source code will be there itself, all the programs report screen will be there itself, it won't generate your executables. So when you call for first time, what happens if you run some T code, what is happening? Anyone tell me any big T code? DB02. So compiling, right? It is generating your ABAP load executables. After that, it will give you the result. So what I am doing, if I run sgen, this compilation will happen and ready to execute. So when now it is already ABAP load is generated. Now, if I run the same T code now, what happens? Immediately I'm getting, it is not compiling. Why it is not compiling? So already ABAP load is generated for that.
Already loaded.
Already ABAP load is generated. Already executables. The source code is compiled and .exes are, all the ABAP exes are ready to execute. You just call them, it will be executed. It is not compiling one more. It is not compiling that code one more time. So already that all compiled ABAP loads will be stored in repo load table. So when it is only code, it is stored in repo RSC. After compilation, your ABAP loads, ABAP load means nothing but your ABAP executable files is ready in a repo load table. Now when you call that particular program, already it is compiled and ready to execute. Immediately it will execute. It won't take some time. Just now I have shown you. Can anyone tell me another T code? Sorry, DB13. Okay, I'm going with the DB13. For the first time I'm hitting this. What is happening? See, it is compiling, right? So already this compilation will do if you run sgen, and it is ready with that ABAP load, means ABAP executable. Immediately now it is ready, right? ABAP load is ready. If I run that T code again, what happens? See, immediately I'm getting the result. That is what happened if you run sgen. Is it clear, guys? Or else, see, I'll show you another example. So I'm writing some code. I'm taking a notepad. Okay, write your some code here and save it. Save as. I'm generating exe executable file. Okay, test1. Okay, saving it my desktop. So already it is compiled and .exe is ready. If I double click on that, immediately it will throw the result. That is what compilation will do. So when you need to, if you run sgen, what happens? See, for example, when you install your system, newly system, all the code is not compiled, right? All the code is sitting in your database. Nothing is compiled. That is the reason after installation, if you run any T code, what it will do? First it will compile that ABAP load, ABAP source code, and it will generate ABAP load, then it will give the result. That is the reason if you install a new component, for example, you install some GRC on this system, that entire GRC programs, report screens are not compiled, right? So what I need to do, select the grc for example, this is my grc component. Select your grc component and do the compilation. Select OK. Now say continue. Okay, it is asking for some server, on which server I need to execute. If you are having multiple servers, okay, select that and say continue. Then what it will do, see, not yet started. Why? The status refers to 0. No objects are there. That is the reason it is not started. Okay, I'll take other one. Generate objects, component. So I want to, okay, I'll go with all components. Okay, what I am doing, I am executing all source codes. I am going to compile all source codes and it is going to generate ABAP load for me. See, regenerate all the above codes. Okay, I'm repeat the last one. I'll go with this and I'll do continue. Okay, on which server? This server. Okay, continue. Now it is doing, see. So how many objects are there? See, not yet started. Why? Execute. Scheduled occurs in the past. What is time now? 7:31 a.m. Okay, 7:31 a.m. I'll give 7:32 instead of that. Okay. Now I'll check. In 7:32 it will start this job. If you check in SM37, one job will be created. What is the job? RS para gener 8. What is the job? So when you run that job, so what happens? SGen is the transaction to generate ABAP loads for large number of programs function. Report RS para gen load, RS para gen job, RS para gener 8. These three jobs are old jobs. They are replaced by new jobs. Just M added. RS para gen load M, RS para gen job M, RS para gener 8 M, respectively in the latest versions. That's it. So this background job will be scheduled RS para gener 8. When you need to run this new system installation, so in your new system or a heterogeneous system copy means what? The new data is coming into your database. But then you have to generate your ABAP loads. After kernel upgradation, system update with spam sent. When you update your system with spam means some new code is coming. Not entire system is changing. Only, for example, some support package is installed. In that I am having some 10 MB of data. I have to do that. For that we need to choose different options. For system upgrade, by using some you are doing some upgrade. In these situations we need to run these things. Okay, I'll check that whether it is scheduled or not. Scheduled time. Okay, I'll go with SM37. What is that? RS para generate job will start. Maybe RS para gener 8 M. This report will be executed. If it is executed successfully or not, how you check? Whether it is executed successfully or not, how you check? For that, this information will be stored in two tables. Genset C, Genset M. The new table is Genset M. If you open that table, you will find gen status will be there. If it is X, it is finished successfully. If it is S, syntax error. If it is E, system error. Can I check this? Genset C, Genset M. Okay. SC 16. Genset M. Okay, I'll check this. For gen status, right? I'll give star there and I'll check everything. For all the objects, status is I. I means not yet generated. If ABAP load is generated, that status will be X. If it is some error, syntax error, the status will be yes. If it is system error, the status will be E. If it is not generated, that status will be I. This is how we need to check. If the gen status is X, means all these ABAP loads are generated. You run on your system, you can check. This is what your sgen. What happens when you run sgen? It will, the source code will be storing here. It is not compiled yet. When you run sgen, all these codes will be compiled and it will generate ABAP loads, means ABAP executable files, means ready to execute. So if you don't run, what happens? It has to compile first, then it has to generate ABAP load, then it has to execute. So the time taking for this is more when you don't run sgen. If you run sgen, what happens? All the ABAP load, all the ABAP executables will be ready and it is ready to execute. Immediately it will throw the result. Is it fine? When you choose, for example, we are having so many options here in sgen. For example, the initial screen of sgen, we are having so many options. If I would have run sgen, it won't take this much time. Generate all objects of selected components. For example, if you added some GRC component to this, then use this one. If you updated some basis package or ABAP package, then use this one. If you update your SAP system by using some, then use this one. Okay. If you have done some kernel upgradation, something like that, then use this one. Regenerate the ABAP objects from last run. Some new things are added, right? Generate object. If you imported some new transport request which is having so much of new code, new ABAP programs, report screens are there, then choose this transport request and only that content, whatever the new changes comes into your that table. Which table? ABAP repo table is there now. What is the table, guys? ABAP repo SRC. The new things which are coming into this table, only by using that transport request, some new code is generated, new program is included into your SAP repository. Then only for that you use this option. Is it clear, guys? For example, if you are having any business server pages new, if you are having any WebDyn Pro, new WebDyn Pro applications, then use this one. So this is how we need to run sgen. Sgen is a load generator. It will generate new ABAP loads, means ABAP executables. Already all the source code will be compiled and it will generate ABAP executable files.